Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while, but these times are crazy, and I mean we have like lots of trouble because of this overall health issue. You might have heard about it, and you know, everybody in Germany is kind of freaking out. So we thought, well, it's the best time to kind of go on the roads and hit some travels and do well, we're now here in Spain and working from here because, you know, most of the projects that we usually are doing have been postponed. We have been very busy, you know, doing the last projects and also pitching and so on. But yeah, the situation, you know, is like it is right now. And if you want to know my personal opinion, I do think that it's kind of overhyped what is all going on. Like if you saw our latest videos, we started to investing in this kind of market crash, and also in the future, you know, we will report more on how our portfolio is going. But today's video is actually about the NIO numbers, which are just out yesterday. And I want to talk about it briefly, what it means, and also why I think the numbers are how they are and how I recently traded NIO. So please stay tuned for what's coming in this video. And first of all, let me thank you all guys who have subscribed to our channel. More than 2,000 subscribers, that's really awesome. So please make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit also the bell button that you get a notification whenever we post new videos, because, you know, this can be very ad hoc sometimes, and we promise to give you the latest information about, you know, tech stocks from China, but also stocks like Tesla, which are kind of very related to the Chinese market, and we promise to give you the best insights on those kind of stock opportunities. And actually this is a really great time in my personal point of view to invest, but yeah, speaking about that, I also think yeah, everything that what I'm saying in this video is just my personal investment journey, so it's not investment advice to you at all. You need to make up your own mind. You need to know for yourself like what kind of risk you can take. So none in this video is investment advice. Please make your own due diligence and yeah, just don't simply follow what I'm saying here. So first of all, it's absolutely clear that we are in a very special situation right now. Like the markets have crashed like they did last time during the financial crisis. So something is definitely going on. And I mean, this current situation, in my point of view, well, it is a little bit overhyped, to be honest. I think that yeah, the current situation is a little bit in panic mode, especially regarding the media and what they are mentioning. But we also need to be aware that, of course, in China the situation has already gotten much better. So the latest numbers, and this is relating very much to what this video will all be about, is that China is actually on a way of recovery. So the latest numbers that I'm hearing is that there has been no new infections at all, besides of the epicenter of this problem, which is in Wuhan. But every other province in China has no new cases, so that's really great news. And I've posted on Twitter already that like the last weekend, basically in Shanghai and Beijing, you know, people went out, they went shopping, and they have been queuing in some of the stores. So these are those small news that are typically not reported in media currently, like in our Western media. Obviously everything is just starting, and yeah, everybody is reporting about the death rates in Italy and so on, and closures, and the US is, I think, just getting hit. So definitely everything is very new. But for us in this channel, as we are covering China, I have a much more positive outlook on this, because yeah, I think in China we see that the situation is mostly under control. So I think regarding the markets, it's actually a very nice opportunity right now to dig into some of the cheapest stocks and shares available. But today's video is all about NIO. And yeah, NIO yesterday reported new numbers for February, and as I told everybody in the last video, so I said that I will go back into NIO and invest more, mostly related to the financial and funding situation of NIO. But I was also mentioning that I am kind of aware that there will be more negative news on NIO coming. So I was expecting lots of negative news about the sales numbers, and, you know, the next earning reports certainly won't look pretty for NIO as well. So that was my prediction. And actually last weekend I actually squeezed and crunched some numbers, and I was looking at some download numbers in China, and that's something I want to show you now before we talk about the actual numbers that NIO reported. So what I was doing this weekend is I was just looking at the download numbers of apps in China, and more specifically to apps of premium and luxury automotive manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, and of course NIO and Tesla. And I looked at what have been their daily download numbers and plotted it against the corona cases, which at that point in time were mostly in China, and to just compare like how are these different auto OEMs actually doing in China during this crisis. So, and what you can see here in this chart is the first insight is that Tesla and NIO are both in the top 3 leagues when it comes to download numbers. So Chinese users, they download the apps of NIO and Tesla almost as much as they download, for instance, their competitor apps, even though they have a much larger vehicle sales share, of course. So that shows you already like how advanced those new players, and especially the EV players, are in China comparing to the legacy manufacturers. And of course, we also see the very big impact and a big hit that Mercedes-Benz took in the recent days when all this health situation has been making progress. But we also need to differentiate a little bit here. So for the app that I ranked for Mercedes is Mercedes Me, which is basically, kind of an app which you use if you own a Mercedes car. So I would say in this case, it is more about, a little bit of the mobility behavior about people. So of course, less people are likely to go out during a, this kind of contamination or let's say quarantine situation where people are actually not allowed to go out. So definitely you won't drive your car that much. You don't have a need. There's no new customers who buy new cars, and also you don't have the need to actually go out and use your app in order to use some of the services of the car manufacturer that you own. On the other hand, and that struck me already during the weekend when I did this chart, is that NIO has been quite stable during this period. So as you see, there is not a big downward trend. Even Tesla has been, dragged down during those recent weeks. But for NIO, not so much. There's really a very flat curve here. So actually, if we go down into the details of that, NIO has been down 45% from the high which they had, or like the average in the weeks before those cases emerged, whereas Tesla is down 62%, and the other manufacturers, they're down 85%. For Xiaopeng, even the low has been 100%, so there have been no downloads recorded at some of the days, and BMW has been down 58% and Audi 68% during the crisis that has been emerging. And we also see this trend for all of the manufacturers, and this is what I have been relating to, that the situation in China is already getting better. People go on and go out and start consuming again, and this is reflected also in the download rates of those apps. So all of those downloads have been going up once again, and so for NIO it has already reached 77% of the initial download rate which they had before, and most of the other manufacturers like Tesla is still down on a level of 50%. Mercedes-Benz is almost down still to 30%, so a very, very low rate here. And Xiaopeng, which is one of the electric vehicle manufacturers backed by Alibaba, is only down to 70%, so also doing quite well here. So those newer players are actually doing better than the legacy OEMs in general. And BMW is down to 46% of their usual download rates, and Audi less than 40% to what they are usually doing. So we can see this overall trend that the legacy OEMs are down much more than those new players, but in general, all of those manufacturers are actually up again from their recent lows. So we see those kind of recovery, but obviously those newer players are doing better, and especially NIO is doing very, very well in this sector, having lots of continuous downloads during this entire journey of handling this crisis situation. So I did this plot over the weekend and was actually thinking about making a post about it and so on. And then yesterday we got the new NIO numbers, and it was actually even reflected in sales. So we see that NIO posted a number of 707 car sales during February, so during the peak of the crisis, which reflected of only minus 12% year on year. So they're doing extremely well, whereas like most other manufacturers are usually down minus 80%, and even Tesla, according to my research, is around minus 50%. But Tesla is actually doing quite well, because the recent numbers that I'm seeing from Shanghai Gigafactory is that they're really high already back onto the production ramp. So I expect that Tesla has not been hit very hard, so they're reporting more than 3,900 sales in February, so doing quite well here. But what is most interesting here is that NIO is really doing well. And why are they doing well? Well, I think it relates back to the download numbers that I just mentioned. And why is that? Well, NIO has a very crazily well done app with more than 800,000 downloads and lots of monthly active users. I think more than 300,000 monthly active users, so very good active rate. And it's the only app of those OEMs that I've listed in the chart which actually allows you to purchase your car online. And instead of only purchasing your cars online, there's many more other services, like there's a community, there is some e-commerce functionality, there are forums, you can actually, if you go to one of the NIO places, you have your own currency within the app, so you can buy some stuff locally. So there's many functionalities, all digital and all online, that you can use within the app. And that's why NIO users, even during the crisis, kept on downloading this app, and possibly also that translated into a normal conversion rate into more car purchases. Whereas with most of the other auto manufacturers, well, in their apps can mostly be used actually just to use some car functionalities, like the heating, or in some other road planning and stuff like that. So it's not very useful during those times of a crisis, and that's also why they have seen very deep lows during this crisis, and why this also got reflected in the car sales, because they basically didn't offer any online sales, whereas NIO did. So we can say that NIO very successfully went through this very hard period of time. And for me personally, actually, this is more than what I have expected. I expected very negative news on Q1 and maybe even Q2. I still invested more, as I told you in the last videos, because for me the fundamental part is actually the funding and the financial situation. I don't care so much about the short-term sales. But at the same time, now on the surprising side, I think the sales in Q1 has been much less than what I have been anticipated. So the impact, especially comparing it to the competitors, has been much better. So I think this is really exciting news. And at the same time, the markets has been crashing immensely. So obviously I were able to pick up more NIO shares at around $3 a share, which is amazing, because I think in my personal opinion this is a very good valuation of NIO currently, even now, and I used this opportunity to pick up more shares and to get a really nice cost basis on average, because with this kind of news I think it takes even more stress and more risk out of the NIO stock for now. So all in all, I think those kind of news are very bullish, maybe not perceived that way by the market right now. I actually think that during the crash, I saw at some times, NIO was holding up quite strongly around $3.7 a share, but finally also broke this kind of resistance and went down even further. But as a NIO shareholder, if you're invested long term, I think you shouldn't be worried too much about this. You should be really worried in case if NIO has more negative news in terms terms of the funding situation. But, and this is just my personal opinion, right now it's looking better than in the past, so that made me accumulate more and more shares. As a long-term stockholder, I'm actually confident that in the future, you know, those kind of news that we're hearing now with this ongoing demand, even during the crisis, and actually also the preferential or the better business model of NIO being an online business, you know, and being better than the competition in this sphere is actually very, very positive. So in my next video, I'm actually planning on giving you some more insights on how I'm personally making the growth case for NIO and what gets me exciting about the stocks and why I think the valuation of NIO is currently very low and where it will going in the future. But that will be a separate video for sure. So if you want to see that, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, please spread it with your peers and friends that they can also, you know, get this kind of notification once I publish it here on my channel. And I'm also looking forward to more comments down below this video, because I'm reading all of your comments and I'm actually planning to answer your comments also in another video, so please stay tuned for that. So thank you very much for watching. These are exciting times in a negative way, because this ongoing situation is of course troublesome, and I hope everybody can stay safe and healthy. On the other hand, I always think those kind of situations are actually very interesting growth opportunities for the future.